Welcome to the Take Action podcast. I'm your host, Nicole Simmons, here to help you take massive action to being your best self. Many people don't believe in their own potential and don't always have the courage to change their situation. Join me and other guests as we give you practical ways to releasing your potential so that you can be your best self. Now let's stop playing and take action. What's up, y'all? It's Nicole again, and we have an amazing episode for you today. Our guest is Michael J. Pope Jr. He's also known as the Coach's Tech Guy, and he is the #1 tech and marketing strategist. He specializes in helping speakers and coaches create systems and automations to attract clients without feeling the overwhelm of technology. Who doesn't want that, right? And he also enables them to attract their more ideal clients and grow their businesses. And I can say that I have been a recipient of his services and what he does. So y'all, please help me welcome Michael Pope Jr. to the Take Action podcast show. Hello, Michael.
Hello, Nicole. Thank you so much for having me on your show. Honored to be here, my friend.
Yes. Like I mentioned, I wanted you to be on the show for a while. And so this was just the perfect opportunity for us to have a conversation. And I think it's going to be a good one in terms of talking about, expressing your brand and the freedom around that, because you certainly have helped me with that. And so many hundreds of other people do the same. So let's just jump right in, if that's okay with you.
Sounds good.
So just to get us kind of going, tell us a little bit about yourself. Like, how did you even get into all of this and be known as the Coach's Tech Guy?
Yeah, that's kind of a long story, but that's a little bit about me. So my background is in software development, information technology for the last 27 years. And Nicole, when I joined the coaching space with the John Maxwell team, my goal was to separate what I do from a technology standpoint with what I do with coaching.
Okay.
I completely wanted to ignore the whole tech side of things.
Mm-hmm.
But I joined the Maxwell team in November 2019. So as you know, in 2020, that's when COVID hit, the whole pandemic, and a lot more coaches were needing tech services. I mean, people were having to do virtual Zooms for the first time and create presentations and do more with social media just to make themselves known, right? To make their brand known.
Right.
And I started hearing questions and I was like, oh, I know the answer. And so I started secretly answering some of those questions, and then word got around and I ended up connecting with Kay and Shy. And I remember telling them how I really didn't want to do tech type stuff, but they helped me brand myself as the Coach's Tech Guy. They were like, Michael, that's your gift thing, right? People need what you have. Like, embrace it. And I was like, okay, I'll embrace it.
Yes. And well, you mentioned, you dropped some names, Kay and Shy. Who are these people in your life?
Yeah, so they're great marketing mentors. They're part of the John Maxwell team. And so I've learned a lot about marketing and branding from them, have grown into a great friendship with them. And I trust their advice, right? Yeah. And so when they said that, they gave me the name, really first, they recommended the name, the Coach's IT Guy. And so I ran with that for a little while, Nicole, but I would have people introduce me and they would say, he's the Coach's It Guy. And I was like, different context, right? It's like, I was like, no, I got to change that.
Yeah. That,
it's all about branding, right? It's like you try something. If it doesn't work, change it.
Right. You don't be walking around talking about it.
Exactly.
And I love that. I love what you said, because isn't it true? Like, sometimes people can see things in us that we don't see, right? And they can help you with shaping what your brand is going to be, just because they see certain gifts in you. And it's like the things that we shy away from, or like, we don't want nothing to do with that, and we try to separate it from us. It's the very thing that we lean into that helps us to help other people.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So with being the Coach Tech Guy, can you share a little bit about what it is that you actually do for people? Because I know that you've helped me a ton. Just share a little bit about that right now before we go in any further. I just want folks to know this.
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the things I try to specialize in is first is identifying what software a coach, speaker, entrepreneur has already purchased. Because what I find out, there's a lot of people who have purchased software that's kind of redundant, meaning they've got two or more pieces of software that do the exact same thing. And so I try to help them. Okay, let's take a look at what you've already got, and then let's show you how to best use it.
Yeah.
So sometimes I'll recommend software, but if someone is already invested in something, I love showing them how just to use it more efficiently.
Okay. I love it. And you're really good at it. Like, are you one of the most patient coaches out there? Because I mean, when you talk about tech stuff and really trying to understand how to use things and how things change so often, like folks just be asking you all kinds of questions. And you're so patient. I said, he's just so nice. He got the same
I
question
love it. Yeah.
by 5 different people. I was like,
Yeah, like the same question. Yeah.
he's so nice. And so in discovering your brand and really leaning into that, can you kind of share a little bit from your experience? What were some of the challenges that you came across in being able to express your brand in a pool where there's so many other coaches?
Yeah, that's very important, right? So I know when I first joined the John Maxwell team, I was like, okay, there's 40,000+ John Maxwell coaches. So I didn't necessarily want to position myself just with his brand because there's nothing different about it. So even when I'm working on a client, and if they're a part of the John Maxwell team or they're a part of another coaching organization, I still try to help them determine, okay, what's unique about you? Because at the end of the day, like, I don't want someone having to Google and going to someone else for help when I can be the one to help them out. Right. But they've got to know. And so, like, I had a conversation with a client, I think it was 2 days ago, talking about this same topic. And I asked her, okay, so, what are you known for? What, if someone wanted to refer you, what would they refer you as? And she started thinking about that, and that helped her gain some more clarity of, people always say that I'm good at this or I do that, right? So you start getting that feedback and you start, oh yeah, okay. Because if you have 3 of your clients tell you, oh man, you helped me make a major transition in my life, and you're like, oh, maybe I am a transitional coach, right? Like I'm helping people on that path.
Right.
Yeah, but I think you have to be willing to get feedback on your ideal brand from other people.
Yeah, and I mean, we're talking and we're having this conversation, right? I think right in the middle of me personally just going through like a transition, right, in terms of brand and kind of how to put things together. So for someone that might be in my position, right, what would you say to them in terms of being able to have the freedom to do that? Because I know that you work with a lot of female clients, women entrepreneurs, coaches, and so forth. And comparison is a word that we hear and that we talk about a lot, in terms of us as women in the business world of being entrepreneurs. So what would you say, even to women out here that are kind of in that place of transition and trying to express themselves in their brand?
Yeah. So let's start with the comparison thing, right? So a lot of people look at comparison as bad, and it can be depending on how you look at it.
Okay.
But if you take that comparison thing and you say, okay, I'm gonna compare myself to other coaches that I admire in the industry, and then you look at, okay, what do I like about this coach, right? Do I like their colors? Do I like their personality on camera? Do I like the way they just brand themselves in general? And start taking note, not necessarily to copy or duplicate what they're doing, but just to learn, okay, what do I like about this person? And can I use it? You don't want to try to like mimic that person, but hey, that person always does a video like this with this type of, they're greeting their clients like this. Maybe I should greet my clients similarly in my own personality, right? So you're not duplicating them, but you're just looking, okay, there's a reason why that person, you're attracted to that person's style.
Yes.
And I like people to pay attention to that, even with marketing anything, right? I like to tell coaches that, like, if you're scrolling on social media and there's certain ads or images that always cause you to stop and read it, pay attention to why you did that. Like, was it the bold fonts? Was it the colors? Is it the way they laid the text out? There's a reason why you stop. And there's a reason why sometimes you see something you like, I already know what that is, right? You pass right past it.
Yeah. Yeah. That is, I don't think I've heard anyone say that before. Like, comparison is not always bad.
Yeah.
Right. And I hope y'all heard what he said, like, to look at what it is about that person that drew you, like what it is that you like. It's almost like taking something that you can use for yourself and say, okay, how can I now fold this into what I'm doing? I love that.
And I guarantee you're already doing that with bodybuilding, right? You look at certain people, you're not comparing yourself saying, oh, that person's so much stronger than me or fitter than me, right? You're looking like, oh, I wonder what exercises she does, right? And you find out.
Yes, yes, it's so true. It is so true.
How'd you get your back cut like that? What are your top 5 exercises?
That is so true. That is so true. I love that. And because I do that.
Yeah, because we all do that, right? It's like,
I'm scrolling like, okay, what exercise? All right, I know. Yeah. So when we're talking about like expressing ourselves, right, with our brand, what would you say, or what, when you think of freedom to express your brand, what does that mean to you?
The freedom to fail. Like, you're gonna put some things out there, and you're not going to get the response you expected. People aren't going to show up. They aren't going to like it, but you've got to give yourself the freedom to fail. And you may go through multiple iterations of your branding, your colors, your tagline. It's okay to go through multiple iterations. Just be willing to take that action. And so I'm a big fan of taking action. Like, one of my keynotes that I delivered not too long ago was become a doer. Yeah. Right. So it's all about taking that intentional action, meaning I'm willing to fail, but I'm going to fail fast. If I'm going to fail, I'm going to fail fast, learn from it, and keep moving forward.
Look, mic drop, close the podcast, like the freedom to fail. Can you just say more about that? Because how do we do that? How do we get to the place where we're free to fail without feeling like we have to be perfect? Because that's for especially different personality types and maybe upbringings or how you're wired. It's like, no, I got to get it right even before I put anything out there.
I tell you, so I'm a natural perfectionist.
Okay.
That's my personality type. And for years that held me back from really taking action, because I always wanted to get things right. Perfect. Everything I did. And as a software developer, so my background is in software development. And one of the things I learned in the first couple of years of software development is that it's never going to be perfect the first time. Like, you take any software product, right? Your operating system on your computer is constantly having updates. Your browser, they're constantly making updates to it because there's no such thing as perfection. So I had to let myself go and say, hey, done is better than perfect. So let's go ahead and do it and be willing to learn from it. And I can't be too attached to the result of that thing, because based on feedback, it may change. So I'm not going to be too attached, because early on in my career, even as a software developer, like, I would be so attached. I mean, I would spend like extra nights working late on something, develop this piece of code, put it out there. And then they're like, oh yeah, we love it, but can you make these 10 changes? I'm like, I just poured my heart into that and you're changing the whole thing.
Yes.
I had to learn. I mean, like, done is better than perfect. Things are constantly going to be changing. So you just got to be willing to fail and realize that failing at an attempt of something doesn't make you a failure, right? You have to completely separate the two.
Yeah. And I think that's a good distinction, right? Like, failure and failing are two different things. And done is better than perfect. That is a meme. That is a mantra. That is an affirmation. That's a prayer. I mean.
Yes, I remind myself that on a regular basis. Done is better than perfect, Michael.
Done is better than perfect. I hope y'all, done is better than perfect. Now that will cause you to be free.
Yes.
When you really get it, like when we really understand done, because in the word done, there's action and activity involved in that. That denotes there's going to be some activity. Perfect is it's almost like start, but never pulling the trigger.
Exactly. Yeah, you don't want to be like that.
I'm getting my whole life today. Thank you, Michael. So, we talked about comparison, right? Done being better than perfect. And we also mentioned a little bit before we got started today about the difference. I wanted you to really share about the difference between maybe working with men and women in terms of the freedom that maybe they hold back from or lean into when it comes to expressing themselves and their brand. Can you talk about some of the differences that you've seen in working with your female and male clients?
Yeah. So one of the biggest differences that I've seen with dealing with some of my female clients is they hold more to what other people think. So they're like, man, if I put this webinar on, what are my friends gonna think? I don't know if they'll like it. Maybe can I just post it here only and not on my personal, right? It's that whole what others think. Whereas some guys care what other people think, but most don't really spend enough time thinking about what other people think. I mean, it's like we're just moving on, but that's the biggest difference I've seen.
Yeah, that's a big one. And I'm like, I'm sitting here, I'm listening to you, and I'm like, yeah, that is true. I mean, I've done it myself, certain things I've been like, well, no. And it's not even something that's said outwardly. It's just like a thought, like, no, I'm not going to do that.
It's not ready yet.
It's not ready. Or being concerned about what people think. So you're not going to do it. Right? Like, what would they say if I'm doing this? Well, I used to be in this lane. Now I'm rebranding or doing something different, but what are people going to think about it? So I don't know if I should do it.
Yeah, if I say that I'm a coach now, what are they going to say? Are people going to say, "Oh, girl, you can't coach"? Right? It's like.
So, okay, from your perspective, we need the male perspective here, Michael. Help those of us that we all struggle with that sometimes, right? What are people going to think? Like, can you share like Big Brother Michael advice, right? Tell us, help your sisters out.
So one of the things I love doing, right, talking about is, okay, so you think about this social media, something that can really help you overcome that is if you use like some type of social media scheduler, even if you're just using if you're talking about Facebook, even if you're just using the Facebook Meta business scheduler, getting things scheduled, like that one day when you're feeling empowered, get things scheduled, then that way, 2 weeks from now, when you're feeling that down, or what will people think, you're probably forgot about it. It's going to get posted anyway, right? I mean, it's like, let it get out there, and then you can just react to it, to the comments that you're getting and all of that. But I see a lot of people that they're constantly working themselves up every single time they do a new post, like, or are the words perfect? It's, it's like, it's okay.
Yeah.
You're going to have typos in there. Trust me. I posted things. I'm like, oh, it's on an image. I'm like, oh, that's a typo. I need to redo that. Right? It's like, let's let it go.
Yep. Yep. It's allowing ourselves just to learn. And I love what you said. That's a really great tip. I hope y'all caught that, is to, when you're feeling empowered, right? There are moments and there's like this rush of energy and creativity. Go ahead and schedule them things out.
Yep.
It's true. You do forget about it and you're like, oh, okay. Because the moments they do come. So thank you for that. That's a great tip. I'm going to use that. Like I'm taking notes like this. I know y'all listen to this episode. This episode is for Nicole. This is my personal coaching time here, y'all. So
absolutely.
You're welcome. But I do want to go ahead. You gonna say something?
I'll tell you, I've had a couple of clients who were on the fence about launching a webinar, right? Because they were like, you think that's a good day to do it? I'm like, what day works best for you? Right? And then we look at the calendar. Right. Let's set the date. Let's go ahead and get it scheduled. And then I'll help them create like their first post. The post, and I'm like, okay, you're committed now, right? You've already put it on social media. You're committed.
Right.
Register yourself, so you guarantee you got at least one person there, and we're good to go. Right.
Right. I love that. So I know that you've given us like just so many things that we can take, practical things that we can take and really implement for ourselves to really experience that freedom, right? Because it's all about the self-expression, right? Everyone's unique and being able to do that, because I don't know, well, I know that you believe this too, that, we all have that particular potential and uniqueness that is needed in the marketplace, that's needed in the world, right?
Yes.
So to be able to do that it really is going to help other people. Like you never know until you do it.
And there's people that need our help, right? It's like, they're not going to hear John Maxwell's voice or Les Brown's voice, right? They're waiting for Nicole's voice.
Right.
That's the only way they're going to connect and do it. So we owe it to them to use those gifts that you mentioned out in the world.
We owe it. Y'all owe it. Listen, I'm saying that to myself too, as I'm saying it to you. We owe it to others, because
as Eric Thomas said, what they say, you owe you, right?
You owe you. Listen, that And so speaking of putting stuff out there, right, and just doing it, can you share with us a time that you did that and the return on it was maybe something unexpected, an opportunity that happened for you to grow in your business?
Yeah, absolutely. Right. So for me, saying yes quickly has its advantages. So for me, like I said, I joined the John Maxwell team in 2019. I started helping people out around like August, September 2020. You know, I was helping members doing things on the side. And then I remember later that year being reached out to by the Maxwell team about joining the team in a faculty position. Right. It's just from me putting myself out there, being willing to take my eyes off myself, put it on other people, but really also being willing to fail. I mean, they made me, and they gave me an opportunity to do a training position. I had never necessarily done anything like that, but I said yes, right? Willing to fail. You just never know. Anytime you're doing any type of group calls, you never know what's going to happen. But for me, saying yes and following through, I mean, it's opened up so many doors, and I'm constantly getting asked other opportunities that are opening up additional doors.
Yeah. I love it. Y'all heard, listen, I'm pulling out these nuggets that you're dropping right now, is saying yes and following through. It's one thing to say yes, right? The yes is the start, but then you gotta follow through, follow through to be able to do it. And I mean, if y'all have to follow Michael. You have a great social media presence. Like your brand is definitely inspiring, right? And once like it causes people to want to lean in and like, okay, like what else is he gonna share? What else is he gonna say? So just a little commercial right here. Share with us how folks can connect with you on social media. We'll start.
Yes, on social media, on all the major platforms, I am at Michael J. Pope Jr. So Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, all of those have that same handle. Try to be consistent wherever I go. And then you can also go to my website, michaelpopetraining.com. Yeah.
All right. Well, listen, yo, connect with him. I'm going to tell you, you're welcome. Connect with him because it definitely, I think that, you know, you have found the freedom in expressing your brand, like in such a way that it really has freed other people, including myself, to be able to do the same. So,
yeah, and I love seeing you do it too, right? You and other people do it. It's like it's so rewarding, and that's what we get as coaches, right? It's rewarding seeing the fruits of our labor through other people's success.
Yes, absolutely. And so, with the last few moments that we have, can you share with us maybe your top 3 tips for someone who still might be on the fence or hesitating or need to take it to the next level, but they're procrastinating a little bit? What would you say?
Yeah, so if you think about branding as an example, right? So let's say you have some ideas of brand colors. One of brand colors, like a company name and all that, then use your audience. So poll your audience. People love sharing their opinion on social media. So you can always give them, hey, I'm considering these 4 names for the name of my coaching company. You know, what do you think? Right? Give me your opinion. And people will tell you their opinion. They'll say, oh, I don't like any of those. Use this instead. Say this. But engage your audience because people want to help you out. So that's one big thing. Take advantage of that. You got a captive audience there. Number 2 would be willing to fail with your technology, anything you're doing. There's always help available, but you've got to be willing to try something out. If it doesn't work, reach out and get help.
Yeah.
So someone has figured it out. Like I know there's new things coming out, but someone has already figured it out, right? Between YouTube and everything else, there's an answer there somewhere.
Thanks.
And then the third thing I would say is coaches need to have coaches, right? You got to have someone you can bounce things off to. And you may have coaches in different areas of your life or your business. That's okay, right? I've got mentors and different coaches that I rely on for different areas of my life. It's so important because just like with my tag name of the coach's tech guy, right? I didn't see that. Someone else saw that for me.
Yeah.
And so that's the benefit of having some type of coach in your life, because they're going to see things that you can't see.
I love it. Powerful tips. Very user-friendly tips.
Thank you.
You can take in, and Michael, I know that you have a membership that folks can connect with and learn more to really gain the freedom to express themselves with their brand and some of the hacks and tech hacks that you do share. Can you share with them how they can connect with you around that as well?
Yeah, absolutely. To learn more about the Tech Ready Coaches membership program, you can go to michaelpopetraining.com. You'll see more details about that. And I love that because what it is an environment of coaches, small business owners, speakers, all who are looking to learn different tech things. And as a group, we're learning this stuff together. You're able to try it out, ask questions, which is really good because it helps everybody else.
Absolutely. And I'm telling you, I am endorsing this membership, y'all. I'm a part of this membership group. It has certainly helped me learn a ton, but the community, I think it's really good to learn in a community of people. And Michael he's a genius. I'm like, how did he learn that so quick? So do yourself a favor. If you're struggling with your brand, if you need help with it, join his membership, follow him, learn from him, and you're going to be better because of it. So I hope that you learned something today, because I know that I did with this. Michael, thank you for joining me today.
Thank you, Nicole. I am Michael Pope, the Coach's Tech Guy. Happy to be here.
Awesome. Y'all take one step. It only requires one step. Take action today. We'll see you next time. Thanks for listening to Take Action Podcast. I truly hope you were inspired to take massive action to being your best self. If this resonated with you, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss a beat, and write a review so we can share this message with as many people as possible. Head over to my hub, NicoleSimmonsLeadership.com, for more powerful resources to help you release your potential. Make today count, take action.